Hello, America. Judge Napolitano here in for Glenn today. Tonight, the budget battle gets nasty. The White House is now warning that if Republicans get their way on spending cuts, senior citizens could see their Medicare payments blocked and their Social Security checks delayed. This after about a dozen Democratic senators defected from their party's spending plan to join Republican senators pushing for deeper spending cuts. But neither the Democrats' plan nor the two plans offered by the Republicans seriously address our nation's spending crisis. Now, nobody wants to see Grandma and Grandpa starve in the streets. And of course, the Republican proposal would not do that. But the military, plus the nation's entitlements, including the sacred cows such as Social Security and Medicare, must be reformed if our country is to get its fiscal house in order. We are broke. What will happen if we don't get our fiscal house in order? If we don't stop borrowing? Add to all this, the world's biggest bond fund just dumped all of its U.S. debt. Jobless claims are coming in, and they're rising. And we only have one more week to go until we hit a budget deadline, meaning the government can't spend any more money. What will happen to the debt ceiling when we reach that next month? Do Republicans have the solution to getting spending under control? All right. Who better to address all this than Republican Congressman Ron Paul of Texas? He's a member of the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman Paul, it's a pleasure. Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. So the Dow is down 228 points. The president just borrowed $223 billion in the month of February. Democrats in the Senate are abandoning the president and their own leadership. Who in the Congress takes seriously the abyss that we are facing, called bankruptcy, called $14 trillion in debt?
I think there's probably about 12 of us that really care about it and would cut the way we have to, and we don't have any clout, really. So I'm not very optimistic about what's going to happen on the short run. They can argue back and forth. I think they'll limp along and maybe have another CR and something like that, but it's just a situation that is overwhelming. The fact that the economy gets weaker, they pretend that there is not a weak economy and that we have employment improving and there's no inflation, but I don't think the people believe that anymore. But I don't see an answer on the horizon. We have to change our whole attitude. We have to change our attitude about policing the world and the welfare state and perpetual entitlements, and I just don't see it.
Is there any pressure on, we'll talk about the House side for now, where you sit. Is there any pressure on Republican leadership to confront reality? Pressure perhaps from Tea Party folks like yourselves, without whose presence Mr. Boehner would be Minority Leader Boehner rather than Speaker Boehner. Does he see any need to react to the small government wishes of the people who sent him there?
Well, I think he's aware of it and he moves in that direction, but let's say we put more pressure on him. He can't even get $6 billion cuts, you know, on some of these continuing resolutions. And then if you go up to 60, you're talking about a need to, the national debt's going up this year $2 trillion. So even with a little more pressure, it just doesn't happen. And you have to face the Senate and the conferences and the president. It is out of control. It's on autopilot. And we're going to march right off the cliff, and we're going to have a much worse financial crisis dealing with the dollar in the near future.
How bad will it be? What will happen if we march off the cliff? What will occur if we can't pay our debts? What will happen if 50% of tax revenue goes to debt service?
Well, I don't think it'll even get that far along. I think something will happen where the dollar will be rejected. Now, you mentioned the one company rejecting and selling all the Treasury bills, Gross, I guess it was, that did that. But, you know, interest rates didn't go up. Somebody else bought them. The Chinese bought them. So it's in their interest to try to protect the dollar well. So they keep limping along, but eventually that won't happen. Interest rates are going to skyrocket. Prices are going to go up. Prices are already going up. And standard of living is going to go down. We've lived way beyond our mean, and we're destined to live beneath our means as a nation.
Before I let you go, Congressman, what is the thought on Capitol Hill about the potential for military involvement in the crisis in Libya? The comments made in the past 24 hours by Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and by her counterparts in London and in Paris and other NATO countries seem to give the impression that the president is contemplating some type of military action. Can we really afford to be physically present in yet another Muslim country in the Middle East on top of the 2 which we already occupy?
Yeah, no, there's no way we can afford it. That's what convinces me that they're living in outer space to think that we can. I gave a little 5-minute speech today on that very subject. I want to introduce a resolution next week, a sense of Congress, that the president can't do this without congressional approval. I mean, why does the Congress just always defer to the president and let the president do what he wants and spread the war? The wars keep spreading, and they're oblivious to the seriousness because it is foreign policy that so often drives great nations to their knees. They just get overextended, and it leads to the bankruptcy, and that means the destruction of the dollar.
Congressman Ron Paul, it's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.